1-2. Struck him out. Strikeout number 6 for Mussina.
The temptation of that off-speed pitch. And it hasn't really mattered where he's thrown it this afternoon, whether it be upstairs where this one is, whether it's been down and fading away from hitters. It's been the same result. The only run coming on that fastball home run that Hasselman hit in the left center.
And Bill Hasselman comes up for the 3rd time with 2 outs, nobody on in the 7th. Oh, here we go. Hasselman charging the mound. He and Mussina get after it. Tackett dives in, and both benches are empty. A full-scale brawl. This was touched off by Chris Bosio throwing at 2 Orioles. Mussina retaliating by drilling Hasselman. There's Randy Johnson standing there, the tallest player in baseball history, saying, I don't want any part of this, and they're really getting after it. Mussina will undoubtedly be thrown out of the game, which certainly won't help the Orioles' cause. Jay Buhner being restrained by Alan Mills. Todd Forworth racing out of the bullpen, getting into it with Jeff Nelson. And here we go again. Another brawl breaks out. There's several of them going, one near the mound, one at home plate, one up the 3rd baseline. There's Jerry Narron, one of the Orioles coaches, in that scramble. There's Nelson, the 6'8" right-hander, putting a bear hug on one of the Orioles. Leo Gomez grabs Henry Cotto. Harold Reynolds, the former Mariner, trying to play peacemaker. Now Cotto and Gomez standing there. Johnny Oates, the manager's right in the middle of it. And another brawl breaks out near the Mariner dugout. I can't tell who's in the bottom of the pile. Leo Gomez is down there. How are they going to get this stopped? Where are the police? How did the police get out there and help break this up? Where are the security people? They can't expect the umpires to stop this. It's gotten out of hand. Why don't the policemen get out there and help stop it? Norm Charlton, the Mariners reliever. Really, why aren't the police out here? And really, how can they expect the umpires to break this thing up? It's gotten totally out of hand.
Johnny Oates has tried to be the peacemaker down there, but he got involved in what was going on as well.
It may not be over yet. There are a couple of guys about to get into it near home plate.
They don't want to give up. Charlton is still frustrated from the other night. Buhner was right in the middle of it and got popped twice by Alan Mills.
Mike Ferraro trying to restrain McLemore. He was the first man that Bosio threw at. One of the umpires trying to hold off Charlton, who scraped his knuckles, popping the fire extinguisher case earlier in this series. Elrod Hendricks says, calm down, it's over. Well, really, what took the police? The police never got involved in it. I mean, there were 3 or 4 different skirmishes breaking out, and it was left to the umpires and the combatants to try to end it. Charlton wants a piece of somebody.
Well, Charlton probably should be handcuffed and led to the dugout.
They're still milling around near the mound. Is it finally over? Mark Williamson is bleeding from the nose. Now they're arguing up the 3rd baseline. It's about to break out again. Here we go again. Jeff Tackett's trying to get into it with one of the Mariners. Really, where are the security people and the police?
They don't need the police. They need the National Guard.
There are a couple of policemen standing out on the field, but they're not doing anything. And now another brawl breaks out. Here we go again. This is one of the worst brawls I've ever seen. Jeff Tackett goes down. Where are the police? Somebody's got to do something or this is never going to end. There are 4 or 5 policemen standing around watching. They're never going to get this under control unless somebody steps in. Neil Gomez is pushing Henry Cotto away. There are going to be some serious injuries if they're not already, unless they get this stopped. And they better get it under control before people start piling out of the stands. And Norm Charles apparently thinks he's the heavyweight champion of the world.
Well, he's had enough. He's had enough.
But can you understand why the police didn't do anything? Is there some sort of rule about them not getting involved?
What the police are doing right now is they've got the grandstands lined and they don't want the public involved in what's going on in the field.
Has Charlton had enough?
Well, he's gone 10 rounds. He ought to be finished.
He lost to the fire extinguisher. Maybe he'll do better today.
This has been a doozy.
It'll be interesting to see how many people are thrown out.
I haven't quite seen one last this long.
It's the worst brawl I've seen.
There have been a lot of individual battles in this one.
Tackett is bleeding. Williamson is bleeding. Just hope that no one is seriously injured. Williamson bleeding badly from the nose.
Oh, watch it. Wait a minute.
Wow.
That was a little legitimate baseball right there. You don't often see something like that.
Well, Mike Mussina being attended to by trainer Jamie Reed. I wouldn't think he's still in the game.
Well, I'd be surprised if they threw him out because they didn't warn either of the benches when Basio threw behind 2 of the hitters.
They don't have to warn him. They can just throw him out.
And he could have said he was throwing the ball inside and it got away and hit Hasselman, who earlier hit a home run.
Pretty obvious to me, though, what this was all about. Chris Basio threw at 2 Orioles and missed. And then Mussina drilled Hasselman and touched off one of the worst brawls I've ever seen in some 10 years of broadcasting Major League Baseball. They brought a stretcher onto the field. I don't think it's needed. Jeff Tackett being worked on by Jamie Reed.
Hey, Mel, the only thing I can tell you right now, Davey Lopes told me that Johnny Oates took a punch in the mouth and he's bleeding from inside the mouth. And I think everybody saw Williamson had a bloody nose when he left the dugout here.
Tom, maybe you can find out for me why the police didn't step in and stop it once it got out of hand.
Hey, Mel, I conclude with you. I was yelling at Phil Barista, who's like the commanding officer here, why his guys didn't get involved in it. I could not figure out. I was yelling at him like to say, why don't you get in this thing?
Well, maybe when things cool down, you can do some investigative reporting.
I'm going to try to find that out because I thought the police should have stepped in much faster.
No question.
You're 100% right. I think the police were very passé about the whole thing.
It got completely out of control. Well, the umpires are trying to sort things out. Lou Pinella's yelling at some fans who are getting on him. Johnny Oates apparently took a
fan argument on the third base side now with Pinella and a fan.
If the police had jumped in right away and gotten this thing under control, would have been much different. Now you've got the fans all riled up. Durwood Merrill, the crew chief, explaining things to Johnny Oates, and we'll see who's in the game and who isn't.
Well, he's trying to explain to Oates who's going to get the penalty minutes here. And I'm not sure it's going to be so easy. You'd have had to have gotten a pen out and a pad of paper and start writing down names.
That's about the worst fight I've seen.
Now this one took longer than the one that took place in Denver when in AAA several years ago. It took 20-25 minutes. This was probably equal to it.
Mussina's out there warming up as if he's still in the game.
Well, he should still be in the game. He just hit a man, so what?
It was fairly obvious that he was throwing at Hasselman.
Oh, I don't know. Fairly obvious that Basio threw behind two guys, too.
Pinella wants to know, why is Mussina still in the game?
Well, I can tell him he threw a fastball up and in and it hit the batter. He didn't prompt the altercation. The guy that went to the mound did.
Pinella's upset. He wants Mussina ejected.
And I can understand his frustrations and bitterness.
Well, Mussina, I wonder if he is all right. He was right down there in the middle of it. Here's what happened. Mussina hitting Bill Hasselman, who charged the mound. Tackett tried to get to Hasselman, but he took Mussina down, and then everybody piles on. And this thing, I don't know how long it took to finally end it. It seemed like about 20 minutes.
You got several hundred pounds on top of that pile, too. That compounds it.
Pinella's furious. He's out of the game. He threw down his hat, kicks the dirt. He's mad because Mussina hasn't been thrown out, and he's putting on a show. If you bought a ticket today, you got your money's worth.
You got that right.
Home runs, great pitching, a bench-clearing brawl, and now Lou Piniella has exploded.
Ordinarily, it's automatic. The pitcher's gone, but it's not so easy for the umpire.
You know, I can't get inside the umpires' minds, but maybe they're saying, now look, it was fairly obvious Basio was throwing at people. We didn't do anything to him, so how can you expect us to throw Mussina out?
The perfect rationalization.
Let's go down to Tom at ringside.
Well, Mel and John, I think John Hirschbeck, one of the umpires, the first base umpires, also got a gash underneath one of his eyes. I've seen that up close. He was in there trying to break things up. And I noticed that when he was walking back over to Hooks Merrill there. So some of the umpires were involved trying to break the thing up, but still I can't figure out what took the police. All they were doing was looking at crowd control and weren't even attempting to set